Hello everyone, over here I present you the Mercedes E-Class estate wagon, and I have to say it is a new chapter for Mercedes. Let's talk about it. Now, I had great pleasure reviewing the Mercedes E-Class sedan version. I love the design from certain angles, but then unfortunately it was not all pink roses, and trust me, the BMW 5 Series, the new one, is also no better. It also has its own share of problems, and I wouldn't be surprised if that will also be the case for the upcoming Audi A6. From certain angles, it actually looks like an oversized Mercedes CLA thanks to the window over here. They've kind of humbled it, and this is a bit conflicting for me because there was a time when, for the estate wagons, Mercedes had proud rear windows between the C-pillar and the D-pillar. Now, depending on the wheel configuration you choose, if you choose a 5-spoke wheel, from certain angles, it will actually look like a downsized GL model. I one time saw a Mercedes E-Class estate with a 5-spoke wheel to it, and at first I thought it was a GLC. Front design, they have adopted the same philosophy as the EQ classes. Now, if you want me to be honest, I was not a fan of this idea, but Mercedes has a plan, and I don't question it. I think it looks good from certain angles. Like from this angle, it looks really aggressive, actually, and it's good. And with this kind of headlight over here, it reminds me of what they did with the C-Class in the 2000s. It had this effect over here. You get a 360-degree parking camera with parking sensors at the front and at the rear. This particular Mercedes E-Class estate wagon costs 90,000 euros. Now, honestly, this is a typical price for estate wagons, especially the BMW 5 Series and the Audi A6. To open the door of the Mercedes E-Class, I have to use a lot of force. So this is the thing about Mercedes doors. They really, like, ever since they introduced this pop-out door handle, opening the door has been a bit of a interesting story. Now, the door sound is... It's good, but there's something about BMW that sounds more reassuring. The front door is easier to open. The front door has this nicer sound effect. It has this metallic sound after it, which is good. I prefer this better. The interior of the Mercedes E-Class estate wagon is very similar to the sedan version. Practically, there's no big difference. But then over here, as I mentioned, for the E-Class sedan version, they introduced screens just about everywhere. It's almost similar philosophy to what we've seen with the EQ classes, and I'm not entirely sure I'm a fan of this concept. I prefer the path BMW has taken. Now, BMW honestly did a bit of a interesting thing with those ambient lighting and you know, the fact that you push the hazard light and everything blinks. That is also a bit interesting. So I'm at least glad Mercedes didn't go down the path of getting too emotional on their ambient lighting. Electric seating adjustments that are on the door, so that's some real Mercedes identity over there. And the door handle is good, easy to pull, and it doesn't wobble a lot. This is far better than the path the BMW has taken. And the presentation of the window buttons is also interesting because the Volkswagen Group, they give a lot of decoration to the center. It's beautiful and everything, but when you look at their window buttons, it's all plastic, whereas at least Mercedes gave a lot of love and attention to those minor details. That's good. Now over to the rear seat of the Mercedes E-Class estate wagon. Now this is just a demo vehicle, first of all, so whoever was the last person sitting here decided to move the seat all the way here. But otherwise, legroom, knee room is good, but being an estate version means you get plentiful headroom and there's no concern about it. It should feel like a GL model. So honestly, no complaint. And okay, when it comes to armrests, Mercedes has been quite interesting. And over here, there's just absolutely nothing. It's just a little storage space, as if it was intended for climate control as additional option, given that it's 90,000 euros. Now for the moment of truth. This is where the magic of the E-Class lies, the boot space. So compared with the BMW 5 Series, it is average. The boot space over here is plentiful. Loading luggages in and out should be easy. The metal plating over here is just too good that I actually don't want to touch it. but unfortunately the body paint also sticks out too much, so you just have to be careful about this in long terms. Now in this regard, this is where Volvo becomes an interesting competitor, given that they don't entirely enjoy the same level of desirability or the same level of status compared to BMW, Mercedes, and the Volkswagen Group, well, Audi basically. Now over to the Mercedes E-Class. When it comes to the design, it looks as if Mercedes has gone on the path of sportiness. So they've kind of drawn inspiration from what Audi has been doing and BMW as well. Audi has arguably one of the best estate wagon, especially with the RS6, which is on the sporty side, and it's everybody's dream car. Well, if not everybody's, I know I liked it at one point until I just figured it looks like an Audi Q7 without its suspension. So my opinion of the Mercedes E-Class, I have to say that it is a new chapter for the Mercedes brand, whether I like it or not. And I think Mercedes did a brilliant job with their sedans lately. I'm a big fan of the E-Class. I'm a big fan of the Sprinter, the van. And honestly, BMW and the Volkswagen Group have also made their share of mistakes when it came to this segment. So nobody's perfect, but I always feel like there's room for improvement. When it comes to estate wagons, I honestly feel like Volvo takes the trophy. In my mind, first thing comes to mind is Volvo. But that's if we're talking about estate wagons for everyday use or something, or you know, something as a company car. But when it comes to something to dream for, Audi seems to capture my heart, especially with estate wagons combined with the Quattro system. That's just chocolate fondue. Mercedes, I felt like when it came to estate wagons, Mercedes has become a bit unheard of. Nobody talks about Mercedes estate wagons anymore, or at least dreams of one. But there is a wheel I like, and it goes beautifully well with this E-Class. I one time saw an E-Class with that wheel, the new one, the estate wagon. It looked beautiful. Although at first glance, I thought it was a GLC. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. I will see you all next time.